Hi, welcome back to You Must Really Like with Sage Murray. I'm your host, and we're in another different space. Were you expecting me to be predictable? No, you shouldn't. Anyway, today we're trying to find a different place to podcast because this room was supposed to be, I had a whole plan. I had chairs, I had everything, and then I got pregnant, and now it's Charlie's room, and the lighting is terrible. I wonder if I can change that. Not any better. Still a light shining down on Charlie. Hi Simba. They don't like being locked out of the room. But anyways, I'm in here now and this is gonna be my studio. I'm just gonna get settled someday on how it looks. So bear with me through the changes, but hi and welcome back. I'm so excited to be back. And yeah, I took a week off last week because my dog got sick. He ended up going to the vet and ended up being fine, but he did throw up a Kong piece, so Kongs are not indestructible and they do live in your dog for a long time. So anyways, mental health check last week was not good. This week I had coffee and it's more caffeine than normal, so I feel like shaky and I need to eat, and I carried this plant up here and like did all of this, and so I'm feeling really tired, but I'm pushing through. So mental health, aside from being tired, just physically, I think I'm at like a out of 5, like a 4. Yeah, I'm at a 4. I've had a couple rough days this week, just crying and hormonally and stuff, but just to be transparent, that's where I'm at. And then so currently reading, I'm still reading the same books. I suck. I haven't been very good at reading. I've read a little bit further on the like book for and not encouragement, but like fun. And I stopped again because it's getting to that point where I need to just sit down and finish it because it's just like the heightened point and I won't want to put it down. And then Fathered by God, I'm going to actually switch over to Captivating again. I'm going to reread Captivating by John Eldridge and his wife. And then I'm currently reading in the Bible. I think I'm still in Genesis. I actually love Genesis. And I restarted it not too long ago, but I should know where I'm at in the Bible better than I know other books, but I don't know what chapter I'm on. I can tell you what's happening. Anyways, so yeah, currently watching, I just restarted Pretty Little Liars just because it gives the fall vibe too. So watching that, and then yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, and New Girl. I'm watching New Girl with Chris because Chris doesn't like Pretty Little Liars as much, which I think is stupid. Anyway, so yeah, to the body of the podcast this week, I'm going to be talking about 2 things. I'm going to be talking about pots and my plants, as well as I'm going to do just a little update on pregnancy, my little pea in my pod, and just update you guys on what's going on. So 1, pots and plants. So I wanted to talk about this because someone requested a little bit about like what I do with my plants, how I take care of them, how I get them flourishing. And so I guess I'll just give you a little story. I kind of have had a heck of a time with plants. It's been a wild journey. I lived in a house that had mold and when I lived on base, and I could not get a plant to live to save my life. I had like the easiest plants, which I'll even tell you the same plants today. The only one that actually made it through was a monkey plant or money plant. I can't remember what it's called. It's like I have it right here. I'll show it to you. This one, not the succulent, obviously. If you're looking, you can see it's this one. But yeah, so that one, that's like a baby of a mother that I have. Like I have not a really big one. It's actually not as healthy anymore, but it gave me a ton of little tiny babies and they all are flourishing. So not all, some of them died off, but a lot of them are flourishing, such as that one. And another easy one is the pathos, but my pathos pretty much died when I was living in that house and I couldn't get it to grow. And now this is a baby of it. And I have a bunch of little tiny babies too, but those are the 2 easiest and they would not grow in the house I was living in because of the mold. So the plants lived, but didn't have any new leaves. And I was like, why don't I have any new leaves on any of my plants? And then we moved and they all started flourishing. Now my pathos, the original pathos that I had living in that house, is now literally covering an entire wall or 2 downstairs. And maybe I'll try and add a photo. Blink, here's a photo. But anyways, yeah, so those were not doing well for a long time until I got into a healthy quality air home. And so now they're doing good. So my routine with my plants now is every week, I usually do it on Fridays and like Tuesday. I just kind of look at my fiddle plant and I look at his soil and I see how his soil's looking, if it's looking dry or if it's not. And sometimes I like to let them dry out a little bit depending on the time of the year, because they do need to dry out and like not be soaking wet all the time. But some of them, like the pathos, can literally just live in water. So depends on the plant. And I had to learn and take some time to learn about my plants, specifically the different ones, especially this fiddle. This guy was like up to my knee and now he's huge. And it took a lot of time and learning, because I didn't know that he needs to be like soaked through, like he's from the rainforest. He needs his leaves sprayed off every time I water him, like it's raining. And then he also needs like a full water, not full, but like just like the entire top, I make it wet. I'm not good at explaining this stuff. I hope this is helpful at all. And then the pathos, I just water like the whole top of it and just like make the fiddle, it'll look like it's swimming in water and then it'll drain down. It has a hole in the bottom. Make sure any pots that you get have a hole in the bottom for drainage, because I thought that didn't matter. And then like this pot is so cute. Oh my gosh, so cute. Not practical. It doesn't have a hole in the bottom, doesn't have any drainage. So now I have root rot. You love to see it. So yeah, holes in the bottom for drainage. Water, it'll drain out what it doesn't need. And then I usually water twice a week. And then in the winter time, usually once a week, just because they need less because it's colder. So that's some plant routine. I also use water. I'm in this plant group and a lot of them say like only water with distilled water so that you can get like the best quality and you won't have settlement and you won't get like there's like this whiteness you can get on top of your plants. And so I don't do that. I don't get filtered water for them, but I do let my water sit. Like I fill it and then it sits for the week. Someone want to say hi. It sits for the week so that the settlements can go to the bottom, and then I water, and then I usually dump out a little bit at the end. So it's kind of my water. And then I also learned, because I did have like flies for my plants, not a good one, like those really annoying little tiny ones. And so I just put cinnamon in the soil and that got rid of them. I just cinnamon every day. And also I have a spray bottle to spray the leaves of certain plants, like the money or monkey tree plant doesn't need to be sprayed, but the pathos, this one likes to be sprayed, and so does the fiddle. So those ones like to be soaked down, as far as I've learned. But it's a journey. You either kill them and they live, you either kill them and they die, or you don't and they live and they grow new plants for you. And then yeah, the top easiest is the pathos, the monkey or money tree. And I just love the fiddle because it's so cute, but it's actually like one of the hardest because it's so particular and they always throw fits. Like I'm sure next week, if the plant is in the same spot, it's going to be like throwing a fit because they're just so moody. And when you move them and their lighting and their temperature, like now it's going to be in the hottest room in the house. So it's going to be moody that I moved it into different temperature. So anyway, that's some plant stuff and pot stuff that I've learned over the time. And then I did want to talk about a little bit of like an update on my pregnancy journey. Someone had requested this for like a once a week check-in because I don't want to bore everybody. Some people don't really care. Some people are also really excited. So I thought I would go into that a little bit. And I really did want to start off on a topic that might be a little bit of a heavier topic because it was requested as well, just going into a little bit of fertility. So and share a little bit of our journey to having Charlie now. So Chris and I were pregnant this time last year, and it was more of a surprise and an accident. Not necessarily not trying, but not trying on purpose, if that makes sense. I had over the years, I've had the pregnancy pill, I've had the shot, I've had the IUD, and the IUD was the last thing I had, and that's what I got removed when Chris got back from deployment. And it wasn't for sake of getting pregnant. I just removed it because I just didn't like the side effects, and I knew that there was a more intuition-based way of not getting pregnant that I wanted to follow and learn more about my body to be able to do. And so I got it removed so that I can track my cycle, get to know my body more for when we wanted to have kids so that I could know when the best window was, but also because I just hated being on birth control. I didn't feel good. My side effects, it probably helped actually a lot because I do have a lot of PMS. My mom growing up, she still tells me to this day, like, you are the moodiest. And bless Chris's heart, he deals with it now. But yeah, I do PMS really bad. And so whether it's mood swings, pretty much actually only mood swings. And I usually have like a once a month cry, and it's usually the day before I start my period. So I know when it's coming, and Chris knows when it's coming, but if he tells me it's coming, then I'm mad. Because I don't want him to tell me I'm crying because of hormones. I'm crying because I'm angry, not because I'm getting my period tomorrow. But then I get my period tomorrow and I'm like, adds up. But yeah, so I started tracking on, I mean, there's a bajillion different apps, there's a bajillion different things you can find online, but the way that I started learning about my body was through the Flow app. That worked for me. Other people, it didn't work for them. Whatever. I love it. I tracked my my period, got to know, about when my ovulation time was, about 14 days after, and then well, not 14 days after, but anyways, read about it online, learn about it online. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a professional. Yeah, I got pregnant. Ultimately, back to the story of fertility, I got pregnant surprisingly. We knew it was happening when it happened because of what happened. And so we kind of knew, and then was confirmed with a positive pregnancy test. And then we went to the doctor a little bit late. So I didn't get a first doctor's appointment to know exactly how far along I was, but this time last year I did miscarry a baby. We do not know anything about him or her. I think it was a boy. I don't know if Chris has thought about that too much, but yeah, I think it was a boy, and little Theodore is watching over us, and he we don't know exactly how far along I was. We tested, but it also could have been a month later, so I could have been 8 weeks. I also could have been 4. So we just really don't know. And so we didn't know if it was something with me or if it was just a chemical pregnancy that just happens, but we also were completely blindsided by the miscarriage because we were so excited. And so yeah, if you've been through a loss and if you've had that trial in your marriage or your relationship, I am so sorry. I feel for you, and we've been through that, and it's really trying and really hard, but the best thing that you can do is be there for your partner. And I think giving space for both of you to actually mourn in your own way is probably the best advice, because not everybody's the same. Not every guy doesn't care. Not every guy is not affected, and not every girl is okay after that. So anyhow, if that's something you're going through, I love you. Chris loves you. Chris would love to be there for you in any way he can. I know that he was really appreciative of the people that were there for him during that time. And so I wish that there were more conversations about that, because it is very common, I learned, and I had no idea. I thought it was just me. I thought it was something wrong with my body. I thought, yeah, I thought a lot of things. I thought a lot of negative things. I thought a lot about anger about God and wondering, like, you brought us this blessing. I thought this was our sign, and then you took it away. Like, why would you do that? Why would we have to go through that? But hindsight 2020, and not to make something positive out of something that's just sad, and it's allowed to be just sad. But I think now in hindsight, there were so many different reasons that had to happen, and doesn't make it less sad at all. But it just lets my heart know that now Charlie has some best friends that she wouldn't have gotten to grow up with had that not happened. And or maybe she would have, but anyhow, now we're getting her and she's perfect and she's awesome and she's healthy. We just had her 20-week scan 2 weeks ago. She's looking great. No health issues or anything. She's moving at like the same time of day every day. It's kind of crazy. Like, she is really active at midnight, and that's why I have to pee every night at midnight. Sometimes if I stay awake long enough, I can feel her. Otherwise, I'll just sleep through it. And other than that, she's kind of active at like 8 a.m. and then again at like 6:30 p.m. And that's like when you can like feel or touch kind of her kicks. And yeah, I don't know, it's really cool. Originally I could just feel him, but Chris got to feel for the first time like 2 weeks ago, last Monday. And that was just really cool, because I think for men it's so different of an experience for pregnancy, because like it's not really real for them until like, I mean, like he's watching me get fat, like he's watching me like get a bump, like he's watching all that happen, but like really for him he's like, she's eating a lot more too, like I don't know. So not that he's saying that, he's not saying that at all, that's me putting words in his mouth, but but it could be anything, like he doesn't know. So him getting to feel that was like, wow, it's really real this time. And after a loss, a pregnancy, I feel like for us it's just kind of like wait and see, you know, the nerves never really die or go away, you know, the nerves of, is she okay, is everything going to be okay, are we really going to meet her, because we really felt like we were going to meet the last baby too. And not to be negative, but that's been something that, you know, it comes and it goes, but it's something that you really have to warn off and fight away. And I know a lot of women out there struggle with fertility and struggle with these thoughts too. And so the best advice I'd gotten has been from Jen. She told me when she was one of the first people that knew. She was helping us with a surprise for our family, and Jen was texting me, and she was like, she had been through similar things, and she said, when you're in the shower, just keep saying happy healthy baby. And so when I was in the shower, I just kept saying it out loud. I'd just be like, happy healthy baby, happy healthy baby, I'm having a healthy baby. And the power of the spoken word is incredible. And I knew that from reading books, but when she just told me that she did that so out of faith, when she was pregnant with her second too, I was like, blind faith, I'll do the same thing. It's gonna work for both of us. And not that that's been the magical thing that helped everything, but I think a positive mindset will change your mental health, your baby's health, and the more you think in that positive light, the better for you and for everyone around you, to be honest. But yeah, that's been something that really helps. And I made a little board when I found out I was pregnant that said happy healthy baby, just to remind me to do it in more times than just when I was in the shower. And that's been one of the pieces of advice that I carry with me. So thank you, Jen, if you're listening. And welcome back, Simba. Yeah, online traps. So before I got pregnant the second time, so this time around, we were trying. We had decided we're going to start trying, and then we had decided we're going to stop trying when I got pregnant. We didn't know I was pregnant yet, of course. And, whoa, sorry, my chair moved. But, yeah, so we were trying, so I had miscarried last October, on the 20th. And then after that, we went through a long mourning phase, and still mourning all the time, and still walking with that grief and walking with that life that we'll get to see in heaven. But I finally got to a place where I felt like I could try to get pregnant again and go through the struggle with Chris, because of how much it had strengthened our marriage, walking through that devastation together. And I finally got to a place where the pain of the loss was there, but the dream and the heart that I have for being a mom outweighed the grief. And I also wanted to allow the grief to transfer into the hope of the future that I have. And so it finally got to that point, and it came to that head. And so we had a discussion, and we were like, we were really excited to get pregnant. Would you be open to trying again? And we both decided to, and then we decided to stop because Chris wanted to go for a change in his career. So we were like, okay, we'll put this on pause. Once we get that settled, then we'll start trying again. And you make plans, and God laughs in your face, and you're pregnant. And yeah, so Charlie said, hey, I'm gonna throw a wrench in your plans. But yeah, so basically I had just gotten all of the fertility stuff. I had gotten the strips to track my ovulation and all of that, and I never used them because we had decided to stop trying before I got to use them. So I don't have a journey to share with you about that, but I know that for me, the Flow app was right on, because I got pregnant the day that it said. So That worked for me. It doesn't work for everybody. Everybody's different. If your cycle is off, then you might need more help. You might need to use the strips. If your cycle is like mine, just like clockwork, then you might not have to necessarily use the strips. But the thing that I got caught up in with my fertility journey was TikTok. I downloaded TikTok. And you know what I did? I purchased, because I was like, I didn't go to the doctor, by the way. I'm holistic health and all of that jazz. And so I was like, I'm gonna figure it out on my own. It's got nothing to do with anything. I just need to keep taking care of my body. I'm very healthy. I go to the gym every day. I eat good and all this jazz. So I just need to keep doing that. And I get on the freaking TikTok app and I am scrolling on, you know, the like, TTC journey or something like that. And it just ended up being depressing and making me more sad and not giving me any hope. And so on this TTC stuff, it was kind of funny because some of the memes were like, no one else would laugh about that except for someone who'd gone through some crap with their fertility and could laugh at something as sad as that. So that kind of did help, but not really ultimately. What did help was hearing from my family member. So basically I had gone onto TikTok, gone through all of these things, and I got to a TikTok that was like, buy this progesterone cream and you'll get pregnant like me. And I was like, okay, sign me up. So I bought it and I never used it. I didn't, I was too scared because I couldn't figure it out. But I bought it, and I just think what that tells me and what I learned about myself and about the pressure of online is I did not need that cream. You do not need anything additional. Your body can do a lot on its own. And this might not be for everybody. Some people do need a little extra help, and that's great. That's wonderful. It brings life into the world. God bless. But I was sold on this cream because it worked for somebody else for something that I was so desperate in that I decided I need that. There must be something wrong in that without doing any tests or anything. And what was told to me by somebody else, a family member that's really close to me, she was like, I'm so sorry you felt like you had to get that. Your body is so capable. And her belief in my body versus my belief in my body, even after she knew that we had a loss, it just reminded me that there's actually nothing wrong with me. In the sense of, there's a lot wrong with me, but there's nothing actually wrong with my body, with what I had gone through with the miscarriage that I had. It wasn't something for me. Some women it is, but for me, it wasn't something that was permanent. It wasn't something that was going to be ongoing. It was a miscarriage because it happened early in pregnancy. It's called a chemical miscarriage. And so, or a chemical pregnancy, something like that. And it's something that just happens when the DNA just isn't strong enough to survive. And that's the reality of it. And God made our bodies this way so that he can make the strongest human beings that are the most obedient and the best that he can create. And so for some reason that happened. And so when she said that to me, I just realized I don't need to rely on anything else but the Lord. I don't need to rely on anything else but my knowledge and understanding of learning my body and all that stuff. So anyways, watch your algorithms and watch your traps, because your algorithm will get you trapped and you don't want to fall into stuff like that. Because you don't need to, and you'll be convinced that something's wrong with you when you're perfect. You were made perfect. And if there is something more wrong, that's great. You'll learn from a doctor, not from TikTok. Anyhow, I think another algorithm thing, now that I'm pregnant, my algorithms, babies and birthing classes and stuff like that. And I think that's almost another trap, to be honest. I feel very connected to my intuition, and I feel very connected to just a gut feeling, I guess. I call it intuition. So I feel like with all these classes, like how to push, how to do all these things that, girl, we've been doing this for a long damn time to need a class on how to push a baby out. Like, it's gonna happen. You don't need a class for it. Like, I don't need to spend my money. I don't know. And some people, they need that, and that's great. And maybe that's, I'm not trying to say anything's wrong or right. I just think sometimes you get so caught up in the algorithms that you're in on Instagram or on TikTok or whatever, and all of the, what are those called? Advertisements. All the advertisements on your pages are all, created for whatever you've searched or whatever you're watching. And I don't know, I just think a lot of mine are birthing classes on natural births and stuff like that, because that's what we're working towards in our goal. Ultimately, the biggest goal is just getting the baby out. Happy, healthy mom and baby. That's all I really care about. But I also want to give birth naturally on my own. And so studying for that as much as I can, but also I think so much is just going to come from breath work and just intuition of pushing. It will come, because it's come for the last long time. People have been giving birth for a long time. Just remember that. It's going to be okay. And then, yeah, so how I was thinking about just having babies in general. I know my generation is known for like not having kids, right? We're caught up in wanting to pursue our dreams, and women can work finally, women can make more than men finally, or almost. And now kids are kind of coming last because of that, kind of like wanting to chase and pursue. And I've seen such a provision, and I've had some conversations with other people about babies and how unifying a baby is for a family or for a community, for a village, for life. Like, there's nothing more unifying than people and babies. And let me back up. So the conversation I was having was a while ago, and it was kind of just like, is there anything in the world that people can unify on? And I truly believe at the root of everything, people can unify around a baby, the protection of a baby. I think that that's one of the most attacked things in this world for a reason. And I think that's why this society is changing towards this. We don't need children and that kind of thought process. And I think it's because it's also causing a lot of this loneliness that everyone's feeling. Anyhow, so this conversation stemmed from, like I said, kind of what can unify people. And I think a child, when you're out in the public, yes, some people it pisses them off because they're crying, they're loud, they're whatever, but you always look at the baby. Like, you walk into a room and you look at the baby, and if there's ever anything wrong with a baby, that's the first thing that someone's going to protect. And so I just think it's one of the most unifying things is to care for a young baby. And I feel like I'm not making sense anymore with what I'm talking about, because I'm so hot. This is the hottest room in the house. So I'm sorry if I'm not making any sense. But my heart of sharing this is, I think babies really can change the world and unify a lot of people. And I think that's what changes a heart of a person, is a baby. And this comes from another story even of, it's not my story to tell, but a woman I was talking to about her life, I was going through a book with her, asking her some questions, and she just shared, like, I never planned on having a kid. I never, dreamt as a little girl of having a baby. But then when I found out I was pregnant through a circumstance that isn't the best circumstance to learn that you're pregnant in, going to the doctor and looking for other news, and then getting the news, oh, you're pregnant, by the way. I think for that person, it changed her entire trajectory of her entire life, to where now she has a family of 5. And I don't know, I just think, had she never come to the conclusion of just getting pregnant, it wouldn't have changed her life to what it is today. And it's so beautiful, and she's so happy today. So I don't know, I just think that babies, ultimately, they're unifying for a few reasons. One, because it changes your life, and 2, because it's just an innocent, perfect focus that's perfect in itself and doesn't need anyone else. But also the reliance that a baby has for protection on other people gives everyone a sense of responsibility. And I think people who don't have responsibility, like Scott, what's his name? I was listening to a podcast by Scott, Diary of a CEO, Scott something. I'll put it in the notes, I think, if I remember to. But his name is Scott McCreery? No, that's not even a name. I don't think that's a person. Anyway, Galloway, I want to say, let's say, okay, Scott Galloway, if that's a person. This person had a podcast and it was great. It was on Diary of a CEO. The podcast name is Diary of a CEO. Guest was Scott Galloway. I'm obsessed with Scott Galloway. He's a really cool person, and I love the way he talks about loneliness and relationships and men, and why men are the way they are, why women are the way they are, and his psychology of it all is really interesting to me. And so he was talking about you know, men and the internal need, and like, what's that called? Like, they're just inside needs responsibility. If they don't have responsibility, it leads to terrible things happening in the world, such as he said this in the podcast, and when he said it, I was like, oh my gosh. So in the podcast, he was talking about men, loneliness, needing responsibility, and in the podcast he said, you know, when you picture an active shooter, when you think of an active shooter, you can picture who it is. It's a lonely man, and a man that doesn't have responsibility and doesn't feel a sense of responsibility. And when he said that, it's just very unfortunately true, and men just need more support and more community, and it's really hard these days to get that. And so the sense of responsibility comes from the community that they're in, and I think when the men have a sense of responsibility for a baby, they just flourish when they actually get that opportunity to rise to the occasion, because when they have something to take care of. And even Scott Galloway's story is really incredible, because he talks about his mom got sick and he had to end up taking care of her around the age of 26, and before then he wasn't doing much. Go listen to the podcast and come back, because that might make everything I've been saying might make more sense. But he just talks about that sense of responsibility he got from needing to take care of his mom. Just changed a lot of him. And then he also talks about parenthood in the same way, and I just love what he has to share about the men's perspective. And so all that to say, babies are really unifying. They give something so exciting, and they really change so much of your life. Like, I just think of that woman's life, and she didn't have necessarily a plan for her career, but she did at the same time a dream for her future. But she also really loved just having fun, and really valued her friendships, and really valued you know, going out and having a good time, and then also working hard. But she never really planned on having kids until that happened, and I think that's so special, because I wouldn't be here today without that woman's story. So anyway, yeah, I think also another thing that I've been learning that goes with how unifying babies are is, whatever, you don't come here for the English, do you? Is just God's provision for babies. It's insane. I don't know, I personally have never clicked on somebody's baby registry and sent them something. Not one time have I ever. I'm sorry, people that have been pregnant that had a registry and posted about it. I have never sent you anything. I'm sorry. I typically, if I was ever invited to a baby shower, I would pick out an outfit for your baby, because I really like those, and they're so fun, and I know those are just as appreciated. But I don't know, God really finds a way to provide for every baby that he puts on this planet, and I wish that was more known, because it's something you only can experience in the faith of walking out the surrender of your body, of having a baby. And I know this might not be the case for everybody in the world, doesn't have the community I have, doesn't have the loving families that me and Chris have, but and I don't want to take that for granted and think that everybody has the same situation that we do, because I know that's not true, and that would be naive to think. But I do also think that my God is a God who provides, and I do think he provides for all families everywhere. And it does take a community and take a village. You can't really do it on your own, and I think that's the most humbling part of having a kid, and God's provision for that kid. But yeah, I've just been blown away by friends' generosity. People that I never expected to get anything from. I'm just humbled and so grateful every time we get something from our registry. And this isn't me telling you, don't buy anything for me, because we don't need anything. But just like the other day, we got this big box, and I didn't know who it was from. And thank you so much, Gina. She sent me like the rocking chair on our registry, and I got it, and I was like, no freaking way. Like, why would somebody do that? That's so nice. Like, I've never done this for someone else. Why would you do this for me? Like, anyway, God just provides for babies. He really does. When you ask, you receive. When you seek, you find. It's just, I don't know, it just all goes together. And so that's my pregnancy update. I don't know if that's what you were looking for when you said you wanted to have that be like a monthly thing, but I guess something also that I was really always researching was like when I was finding out I was pregnant. Why does my face look, oh, it's the highlight. Okay. I was looking at my face in the thing, and this like dot right here didn't make sense because I don't have an indent there, but I do have an indent there. It's just the highlight is, anyway, carry on. Something I remember searching for and was like most concerned about was like feeling a kick of a baby in your belly. And I'm not very far along, so it's not like these kicks are super strong. They're more on the weak side. And I just got to the point where you can see it happening in my stomach. And so I started trying to record it, but I remember just being like, what is that gonna feel like? And every time I would search, it'd be like butterflies and flutters and this stuff. And I just like cannot relate to that at all. I feel a kick, and that is not what I feel. I don't know what a flutter feels like. I don't know what a butterfly feels like in my stomach. And so I was trying to explain this to a friend, and I was like, it literally to me feels like a slug, or like a bunch of slugs are in my stomach and they're moving in the most beautiful, magical way. And I don't mean to downgrade kicks, because I know some women can't feel kicks. They have like the placenta's in the front, so they don't get to feel the kick, and that's something that makes a lot of anxiety. So I'm not taking this for granted and not trying to talk about it negatively, but also it can feel disgusting. Like it kind of feels like, literally, that's the best thing I can think of is slugs, like slowly but quickly. I don't know if that makes sense. Like it's a slow and then boop, like a boop. Anyway, it's like that, but a slug, it's like soft and like it's not hard. It doesn't hurt anything unless if she kicks my bladder, which is why I have to pee at midnight. It doesn't hurt. It's just like, gotta pee, gotta go, gotta run to the potty. I'm not doing this justice at all, but that's kind of what it feels like to me. It's just like the first time I felt her move was at, I want to say 17 or 18 weeks. And I was laying in bed, and it just, and I think she moved a lot because I felt it like across my stomach, and I never felt this sensation before. It felt like a group of slugs, like a school of fish, but a group of slugs, if that has a name, let me know, moved across my entire stomach. And it was like, whoosh. It didn't make a sound, don't get me wrong, but it felt like that's what it felt like. Anyways. And so now it kind of feels the same way, but a little bit faster. Like it's like, boop. All right. Anyways, thank you so much for tuning in this week. Just to wrap up, a few things that you must really like because you're listening to the You Must Really Like podcast. This week, what have I been really liking? Dr. Pepper. Actually, Dr. Pepper's been upsetting my stomach. Sprite. Been loving Sprite. I've been really liking this hat. Someone, you know who you are, you're not listening to this. Andrew, he got our daughter this hat, and it's the freaking cutest thing in the world. Actually, this might have come from Hannah, and Hannah might actually listen. But Hannah, I freaking love this hat. I also love this one. And this just makes me so happy. So those two things make me really happy. It'll probably fit Charlie when she's like 3, but they make me really happy. So those two things, and then what else have I been really liking? I haven't worn makeup, so it's got nothing to do with makeup, that's for sure. I still really like doing my hair with a straightener, like curls, because I'm watching Pretty Little Liars again. If you've ever watched Pretty Little Liars, I'm pretty sure their hairstylist did their hair with a straightener because it looks more like this. And it's not like brushed out curls, and anyway, still liking this. All right, thanks for tuning in this week. Come back next week for some more stuff. Great to chat with you. Bye.